हरि ओम। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। हरि ओम। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। Yes, can someone recollect anything that we saw last? Yes, please. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, Shanti ji? Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, ma'am.
The knowledge, that is the yoga, it was passed to mortal man from Krishna. From there, it to the king Ishwagu.
Ji.
Okay. And then the kings to royal sages, and
Hmm.
the knowledge was transmitted, and the essence of the
Ji.
gospel. We are not, and the guru from guru to guru Srishya Parampara. It was passed to everybody in the world after that.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes. So, what Krishna is saying that the higher knowledge which was passed on was somewhere lost in time, lost in transmission. I think we
Yes.
all know in our school also, isn't it? Our teacher takes a class in school and somebody remembers something, some other person does not remember. The teacher is the same one. But
Yes.
only it's like even sometimes we talk to our friends remembering the school days. Do you remember this was told? In which class were you sitting? I was in the same class. I don't remember it. Basically, it is just the reception, the whether the mind is alert at that time, something like that. So this loss of reception took place, but there is one place where reception can happen perfectly, where with like transmission is taking place without any loss. That is probably what we call this parampara of the Guru and
Guru
Shishya. Great.
Parampara.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Anything else you
And
would like to add? Yeah.
Krishna says to Arjuna that you are my friend and devotee.
Uh,
That, yeah,
so that one more
so
beautiful aspect of Bhakta, Bhakta and Sakha.
Bhakta and Sneha.
Yeah, Bhaktosi mein Sakha cheti. Means a lot of people wonder what was so special about Arjuna. Why Arjuna of all the people? Well, he was sincere, he was clear-hearted, and that association, he had full faith in Krishna. If you go
Krishna.
into Mahabharata, there are very interesting tales. Arjuna would just follow blindly whatever Krishna says.
Krishna says.
Krishna once called him, we have to go to the Swayamvar. He says, all right, let's go. He says, now we have to free the bride. We have to take the bride away. He's like, what is this? Isn't this wrong? Then Krishna explains him why it is correct and he follows because his Shraddha is there. If you look at Arjuna's entire history, that probably gives him the right to even, ask questions in an obnoxious manner. When Krishna says, I will give you that knowledge, he's like, hey, this is getting a little overboard right now. He says, how do I believe? How do I understand that you taught Surya? You were born in sunlight. How did you teach Surya? How do I understand it? Krishna gave a beautiful answer which distinguishes Krishna from Arjuna. Maybe we also are missing that one thing which is preventing us from a higher realization. Can anybody tell me what is it? What is the distinguishing factor between Krishna and Arjuna? Yes.
Krishna remembers all his
Uh,
previous births, the next everything, whereas Arjuna
yeah,
doesn't.
doesn't, isn't it? So even we have the same problem, isn't it? We don't know what was before. We only know a little bit of what we have right now. And in that, we get confused. What is going on? What is this? How is it going to happen? But if we get a little bit higher insight, probably we will understand. The Upanishads also called upon for that only. You see, the Kruto Smara, Krutam Smara, these are wonderful, like Mahavakyas of the Upanishad. Remember, oh hero, remember the deeds that you have done. Kruto Smara, Krutam Smara. It is repeated two, three times because we need to remember. Sometimes this smriti is only gone. We forget. What do we forget? We forget that we are divine also. This becomes a problem. Why? Jada sanskara. Continuously something like in school teacher telling useless boy, useless student, not capable, you're not capable. It's a very wrong thing to tell. But you're creating a sanskara by repeating again and again, reinforcing, and that poor child forgets that, yes, I am somebody, I have potential. That is only forgotten. Like that, sometimes we also get we get lost in the, cycle of life. It is called Mrityu Sansara Sagara. This is like a Mrityu Kshetra. This is also a Kurukshetra for us, which we are living in. And in that Kurukshetra, we all have different set of battles. Yes or no? How many of us are experts in Dhanurvidya? Nobody. Yet we are fighting different types of battles, isn't it? Not like Arjuna, but we also have them. In that we forget that divinity, we forget what is called a smriti is gone. Because we have Vismriti, we forget our divine origin, we forget our divinity, we forget we are capable. There's a nice shlok I think we had seen previously. Amantram aksharam nasti, nasti muli anaushadam, ayogyah purushah nasti yojakastatra durlabham. There is nobody who is incapable, just like there is no plant that is not a medicine, just like there is no word that is not a mantra. But the one who can convert the word into mantra, the one, Sri Aurobindo and Mother, they have written mantras in English language. We say mantra is the bhasha is Deva Bhasha, Sanskrit, and Tantric Bhasha is only Sanskrit. That is true. But words of Sri Aurobindo also, it was the hour before the gods awake. I mean, we cannot think about gods, but now we are going into the hour before the birth of the gods. This is like Savitri's, it is called a kind of, these are mantric verses. That is what they call the composition of Sri Aurobindo. What is Savitri? It is a, his spiritual experiences have been hidden inside of that. So like that, it is possible. And so the Smriti is gone. Even the great Maharudra, all powerful Anjaneya had lost his Smriti, isn't it? He wanted then just somebody like Jambavan was required. He's saying, boss, you don't know this leap, this is nothing for you. You are so strong, you're so powerful, you can take that. Connect to your heart center, connect, go inside, go to your memory, you will remember. You'll remember what you are capable, how talented you are, how talented you truly are. Because many times people go through their lives thinking they are not talented at all. There's nothing more unfortunate than that, isn't it? Forgetting that this is the loss of Smriti, and Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you are not understanding right now, but I have seen many births and I'm conscious, so I'm able to tell you. And since this appears like this, these moments come in life when suddenly things look too dark, things look so hopeless, you feel there is no way forward, you get overwhelmed, you get disturbed, you get broken, all this happens in life. But it happens for a reason. As like Sri Aurobindo says, pain is what? Pain is the hammer of God. This is something which is very powerful. What is the use of that hammer? To hurt? No, not just hurting. It is for making a sword strong, isn't it? How does a sword become strong? The more hammer beats it gets, that's only how it becomes strong. So this important aspect which we can, draw or infer is that yes, difficult moments are coming to make us strong. We should not get overwhelmed. Arjuna got overwhelmed and he was close to losing his life only. Arjuna was close to losing everything he stood for. I can tell personally, around 10, 11 years back, I thought I am only an inauspicious occurrence. The word Apshagun was, I was like, whatever, I have come and only I'm seeing problems happening because of me. Are they because of me? Maybe if I go out of the picture, these problems will disappear. Now, what was that thought? Was it a higher thought? Was it a realized thought? No, it was a lower thought. Lower thought brought about by emotions because of not understanding the situation, because of probably some kind of lack of higher knowledge. So these thoughts come to us, and at that time we must understand it's all right. Learn to go behind, learn to go one step back. There's a beautiful song, It's Okay, It's All Right, sung by, I think the name of that singer was Nightbird. She's no more now, but she was a cancer patient. And she came and on a reality show, she started singing that song. So frail, so thin, and yet such rhythm in her voice, such power in voice. Everybody stood up, and her song is still now remembered. Anybody, I don't know if you have heard of it. But its lyrics are so simple. It's okay, it's all right. Just remember that. Smriti should be there because Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srojamyaham. I come every time there is this darkness and there is a day, reign of entropy. That time, what happens? My avatar enters. We saw the system of the Dasha avatars. There is a conscious evolution in the avatarhood also. Means if gods are evolving, what about us? Can we stay back? No, oh my God, let them evolve. I'm not going to evolve. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to transform. I think we should follow their example, isn't it? When in avatarhood also we see a concept of evolution. Why not? Why not in us? We have to see that. That is important. We have to transform. What is old and what is not required in our personality must go. It has to become strong. What is weak must get transformed into what is strong. We cannot sit back and just wait for something to happen. Because God comes sometimes through representatives, or sometimes we find the energy inside of us only. That is what we call in the later on in the Gita is called Vibhuti Darshana. The representatives of the divine, you will see where this place you can see this Vibhuti, another place, another Vibhuti. So like that Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I have been coming before and people have experienced my presence. Somebody who has experienced only can tell that yes, God is. I've got that experience. I have seen people going through the worst of life experiences and still being thankful and grateful to God. My own dear classmates, she got, we can say, acute myeloid leukemia, no chance of survival or very less chance of survival. Mother being a pathologist, she got 18 cases of that same, type of diagnosis, and out of 18, 17 had not made it. She was the 18th person. Now, such a person, what will you say? What will happen? And her life was full life ahead. What is going to happen? No, she didn't give up. She fought. The girl who was afraid of a single injection went through so many cycles of chemotherapy, full hair fall, suddenly became fat, then again became thin, again transformation of physical, emotional, everything. And this girl comes and says, I'm grateful to God for my cancer. I'm thankful. She says, I got a big life experience in just 2 years. What I experienced is unbelievable. And she is now cancer free, and she is the one patient among 18 who did not succumb to it. How, what, everything. And the best part was all the doctors in the cancer ward were driving and getting inspiration from her. That was interesting, isn't it? This is how the energy comes or from the divine. It gives. Sometimes we feel, where does a person get the strength? Understand, such people are getting directly from the divine. That is why they're standing. It is all right. So what if our road has got thorns? Should we not walk on it? We have to, isn't it? Journey is there. We have to move ahead. We can't stay back. It's all right. Face the challenge and move ahead. So this aspect of what Krishna is saying, that somebody who understands my presence, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, who understands my divine birth, my divine works, such a person is going to become free. Free from what? Free from this Mrityu Sansara Sagara. Moksha belongs to that person. How? By the realization, by the freedom. Freedom of what? It's okay, it's all right. That is the freedom. Difficult moments also hold on to the divine. We have seen Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha, Sthitadir, Muniruchyate, free from anger, free from desire. Same thing we see in this Adhyaya also. Such person is free. Krishna is saying, Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha, Manmaya, Mamupashritaha. They have taken shelter. Ashray. Ashray means refuge, isn't it? What happens when you take shelter? Anybody? Refuge of the divine. Anybody? What do you think happens when you take shelter of somebody? Sometimes people go to ashram, isn't it? Why do they go to the ashram? Because there's ashray there, isn't it? They find their shelter. And any place you can find shelter can become your ashram, isn't it? The where you have got it. That is your place. That is your devasthal. As simple as that. So here, what happens when you go into the ashray? We've heard about refugees, isn't it? Fleeing from countries, war-torn countries. Anybody, what happens then when they leave that country? Sometimes they leave their own homes also, isn't it? For refuge. So what happens when they go to their destined location? They become free, isn't it? Because yes, I have come there, I have come. That dream has been fulfilled. Maybe sometimes when people leave countries, it's sometimes trying pan to fire situation because of different situations. But getting the ashraya of the divine, that is a different aspect. And Krishna is saying such people who have understood the presence of divinity, who have sought shelter of divinity, have got that ashraya, have got that what they call the abhaya hasta behind that person. That hand takes the person ahead. Doesn't it feel good to have a hand on our back? Anybody? Yes? When we were young, we used to get lots of pats on our back, isn't it? Probably from our parents, from our friends, or somebody would come in. Now, after a while, we don't see anybody giving us a pat on the back. We really yearn for it. Yeah, who is going to give that? Who's going just touch my shoulder and say, go ahead, I'll go. Just give that one touch of confidence. Now, are we going to get emotional, start singing ghazals? Ki nobody is there touching my back? Or we can experience the touch of the divine on our backs, touch of the divine. Yeah, I am there. And that experience comes. That comes to the seekers, the sadhaks experience that. That is a special experience. But people have so many ways of offering, isn't it? Some people offer different prarthana, another person does different prarthana. Sometimes one person's prarthana is insulting to the other person also. What is actually God's real, what we can say, what is okay for God is the big question which comes. Because like now in my village, there is a potter who makes pots. And he says, Bhagwan, don't give rain at all. Neighboring place is a farmer. He says, Bhagwan, give me rain. What should God do now? Give rain to this person and no rain to the neighbor. It's not possible. So what is that? It's a dilemma. People think, "Okay, which mark should I go? Which path should I travel? Which is the right path? Which is not the right path?" So let us see. We'll continue with the Gita, 11th shloka. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानो वर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. Krishna says, whichever form of mine my devotees expect, their ardent prayers towards me I accept. Seekers of my path walk in so many ways. O Arjuna, in search of me, all men tread always. So Krishna is saying, in search of me, people are walking. Atheist is also walking in what? In search of God only. God is not there. God is not there. Why? Because I didn't experience God right now. The God question has come to the atheist also. Only sometimes the problem is the atheist stops asking the question and then says, I have found the answer and finishes it off. But so many great seekers, they all had atheistic approach first. Are you there? Swami Vivekananda, he had asked, watching in Bengal, the famine killing his own brothers and sisters, and he was like, what is this? अगर तुम हो तो ये क्यों है? If you are there, why is all of this? Why is this suffering there? Are you there? This is a question which comes. Even Sri Aurobindo had a small phase when he was young, probably looking for, is God's presence there? But then what happened? The experience came, became transformed. Swami Vivekananda was born, isn't it, from Narendra? The transformation took place from the experience. But where did the experience come? Because of seeking, because of questioning. So it's all right. Arjuna questioning Krishna also, ki, how can I believe you? It's okay, it's fine. He's at least trying to understand and trying to believe, isn't it? So that is the thing. People are working on the path. What will happen when the skeptic realizes the presence of God? Anybody? Sakshatkara comes to a skeptic. What will happen then? Anybody? He'll fall on, or she'll fall on the knees only, isn't it? Immediately, pranam, Sharasa Devam, immediately, Saktang, Namaskar, Dandavat, because the realization comes. Till that realization comes, the person will remain there. But everybody is evolving towards that path. Path of what? Path of the divine. People don't know that. Many are unconscious of it, but the journey is taking place. And Krishna says, he says, whichever form person seeks, I don't get disturbed by it. I don't say you must visualize me with two horns. You must visualize me in this particular roop only. No, whichever form you are seeking, I will give you a darshana in that form, is what he says. My path, Arjuna, there are so many walking on my path. They are walking in so many ways. Kankshantah karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha. क्षिप्रम ही मनुष्य लोके सिद्धेर भवति कर्मजा. The mortals, to fulfill their works of desire, sacrifice to the various demigods whom they admire. Because these actions bear fruition quickly, in the human realms, the results manifest easily. We have been taught, isn't it? Mam phaleshu kadachana in Karma Yoga. What is the meaning of this particular verse? Anybody? Mam phaleshu kadachana. What does that imply? That important principle of Karma Yoga. Can someone recollect? Yes. Yes, Chitraji. Yes, ma'am.
You
Yeah.
can perform your duty, but you can't expect the fruits of
Okay.
the
The fruits
duty
of your action, isn't it? Don't
actions.
expect, don't do your duty without getting attached to the fruits of the action.
That's
But now Krishna is talking about people praying to particular devas because these devas are giving better returns quickly. So do you think that is allowed in the prarthana only? In Karma Yoga, it's not allowed, but in prarthana, it is allowed? Or there also, by logic, it should not be allowed? Yes? What do you think? Yes, Chitraji or anybody else? This logic does not work anymore here. Or it's, yes, anyone? It's actually a very interesting fine line here.
Maybe with the bhakti and shraddha that the person has with the
Right.
God, he feels he has a right to ask him.
He has the right
Just
to
in the
ask.
manner Arjuna
Uh,
asked Krishna.
yeah. Means it's like, I won't ask my parents, whom will I ask? Isn't it? Something like that. So you can do that. But don't get trapped in it because that also is a bandhana. It is going to come later on in the Gita. Means it is right. You see Rudram, Chamakam, Goshan Chame, Mayash Chame, Priyan Chame, Nukamash Chame, Somarasas Chame, Bhadram Chame, Shreyas Chame, all give me brilliance, give me all that is auspicious, give me strength. Continuously it goes on. Why? Well, that person then adds very nicely. It is for serving the divine. That aspect of Lokasangraha comes in, you become free. Otherwise, it's like children cry, no, I want ice cream, I want ice cream to parents continuously. Then parents give also ice cream, but they get irritated and give, and then ultimately the child gets cold because of eating that. Something like that happens here also. So don't allow your desires to drive your prayers also. If you're going to do yoga sadhana, let us not attach in our prarthanas also conditions, because conditions are not what we call love cannot be on conditions, isn't it? It cannot be, isn't it? Or there are terms and conditions in love also. Rule number 5A has been violated according to this. Nobody talks like that. And we all believe in unconditional love. Prayers also is a form of connecting with the divine through love only. And there, let's not hold or bind to conditions. Otherwise, people say funny statements. Worship this Devata, he is better. Some people even say worship Kubera is better than worshipping Shiva. Shiva is in Smashan, no? He's Viragi. You will also get Vairagya, you will lose your attachment, you will not have a good bank balance. Instead, worship Kubera. Kubera will ensure that you get more FDs. Now it's a little silly, this kind of thoughts. Our job is not to go and correct everybody you are thinking wrong. But who got the blessing, boon of wealth? Kubera got it from whom? From Shiva only, isn't it? But that simple aspects are forgotten when we are trapped in desires. So some people in prayers, they also think, oh, no, worship Mahalakshmi. Saraswati, no, we'll see later. Enough knowledge we have got. That much is okay now. But they don't realize that each of these are aspects of that one divinity. But Krishna says it's okay if sincere worship is there, I accept it. Sometimes people question their boss, give me permission, give me transfer. I want transfer to this particular place, or give me one assignment in this foreign location. Then boss gets irritated and sends. After going there, then they say, "Arey yaar, I should not have asked for Timbuktu. I could have asked for a better place. This place is not good." But our attachment desires sometimes overwhelm our prayers. That should not happen. As far as asking for prayers, asking something, it's right, it's all right. Whom will you ask otherwise? In this world, we have a relation, we have a personal relation with our Aradhya, isn't it? Aradhya is a chosen God. Chosen by whom? Chosen by our astrologer? Chosen by our Patrika? Chosen by somebody who is asking you, this is your God, henceforth I have chosen for you, or it is you are only choosing, isn't it? Ishta Devata is each person can have their own Ishta Devata. The freedom is there on the Marga. So you can have your dialogues if you want, but don't get attached with desires there also. That is sometimes people get trapped there. It's a subtle trap, but it is a trap, definitely. Krishna goes on, he says, चतुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्धि अकर्तारम् अव्ययम्. I created the fourfold system of order. Chaturvarna I created. 18th Adhyay, what is Chaturvarna will be explained. So we will go in detail there, but at least now Krishna says, I have created. What is the Chaturvarna, anyone?
So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra.
Yes, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Later on, we'll see how they are all equal. Gita also tells it very clearly. There's no scope for misinterpretation. The very system of caste came from Portuguese only, no? It was not in our Bharat that way. That word, if you see that there is a lot of beautiful flexibility in this, in which is there from the beginning. Even Gotras could be changed. Anybody was aware of that? In the Rig Veda, one Shunashepa was least favorite son of one particular Rishi. He is only offered as sacrifice. The father says, "Le lo, isko dal do. It's okay." And then one more Rishi comes in to save him. And then the Gotra changes because he becomes a chosen one, and now you are going to follow my path. Means this was something very interesting. If you see who is Vedavyas's mother, what was her profession? Vedavyas is considered an avatar, him like Krishna only. Another name of Vedavyas is Krishna. Who was the mother of Vedavyasa? Anybody? Yes, Vinitaji? I'm sorry, your voice is breaking. You? Yes,
She was
ma'am?
a fisherwoman, na?
Absolutely, absolutely. Valmiki, Rishi, Maharshi Valmiki, what about him? He was a great Rishi born from childhood, doing great tapasya and sadhana. Yes? Yep. Yeah? Yes, Binaji, you were saying something?
No, who is the mother of? I mean, what I
Mother of
think
Vyasa.
one-
No, mother of Vyasa was a fisherwoman.
Okay, what was her name?
What was?
Her name?
I think I just checked and I'm not remembering right now suddenly.
Matsya-gandha.
Huh?
Satyavati.
Sat
Matsya-gandha.
Matsyagandha.
Satyavati was Ved Vyas.
I think Satyavati.
Satyavati
Yeah.
was the name given later. Her original
Yeah.
name was Matsyagandha because she used to smell like fish. And
That
she
was,
had
that was
the
like a
fishy
name
smell.
which was that was a name given from outside, no? Isn't it? People have that
Then
habit.
later on, she's named
Yeah, yeah.
Satyavati.
Yeah, same story with Rishi Valmiki also. He became Valmiki afterwards. Earlier he was
He
Ratnakar.
was a Dasyu.
Yeah, he was a thief, dacoit, but he becomes transformed. So this is something in Chaturvarna which is flexibility is there somewhere it got forgotten. That we will see later on, but right now Krishna says, I created this Chaturvarna of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. I created the fourfold system of order on the basis of qualities, activities and ardor. It is I who gave the fourfold law sanction, imperishable I am, yet I detachedly perform my action. So it is based on the qualities, it is based on the nature. Is the word birth mentioned anywhere here? Birth as the basis? No, Krishna is very, very clear. But somewhere down the line, so many factors will not enter into the political factors why it became so strong and rigid. But this is not there in essence. But what is the need for it anyway? Then why create four? That is also division only, isn't it? Creating four also. Well, this was very nicely answered by in my practical experience when one person from US who is the importer of our Ayurvedic medicines that we make, he came to India and in our village, they said, they see there are two streets only. And these two streets, one is OBC, one is SC. OBC has become upper caste, SC has become lower caste. They don't intermingle. And this wrong system where there is a discrimination. He said that is also happening in America. I was so surprised. I said, what? How is it happening in USA? He said, yeah, we have a class system. What is class system? He said, no, lawyers stay together, doctors stay together, other handymen, other workmen, they're all separate. They form their own group, their own coterie, and everywhere. So this system of division is coming from what? From human nature, isn't it? From human nature. The lower nature is only creating this. This is superior, this is inferior. If you look into other religions also, there are so many divisions. It has come into. You look at Islam also, you look at Christianity also. There also they have followed that. So what is the source of it? It is ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of human beings. And the reason these four are required will come into clearly in the 18th Adhyaya. It is something like understanding a person's aptitude, understanding a person's swabhava. A person can go ahead. This is something which is done in counseling also, isn't it? Nowadays, school children get counseled on which direction they have to choose. So these four, Krishna is saying, this is actually for a system. Like there are four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That's like that. Now there are four ashramas. What we can say, is like Chatur Varna, there are Chatur ashramas. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. These are the four cycles. They are not rigid, but they all had a purpose. Something this Chaturvarna also has a purpose. Let us wait when it comes in the 18th Adhyaya. At least right now we can understand Krishna has not said it is by birth. Nowhere has it been told so far. So let us not hold on to it, at least for our sake, at least. We cannot go change anybody else. I tried changing, my classes only stopped. So I take spoken English class in the village. I try to, bring about some harmony and I got a phone call in the night. You're going to create difficulty in the village. I was stopped by somebody. Somebody said you're class practicing discrimination. I said these are pre-spoken classes, spoken English classes. Anybody can come. What about people from that side if they come? I said, yeah, that side, this side, whichever side you come. What if 50 people come? I said, get me a mic. I have a very bad voice. I need some support to speak loudly. Otherwise, I don't have a problem. He said, okay, then I'm letting you go now. You should see. I said, fine. Basically, he wanted money from me, which I was not having to give also. So I was not going to give him. But what happened was in the night, I got called that there will be a problem in the village. The person who had given their home for us to take the class said, this will create great problem, disturbance. I said, what disturbance will happen? Just speaking English, spoken English, grammar, how can it create disturbance? It creates disturbance to students only. Why should it create disturbance to the village? But no. And then I said, will we go to a neutral venue? No. And finally, 6 months, what was going on very nicely suddenly stopped. Why? I made a mistake. No, Krishna says, na buddhi bhedam. I didn't know that time. I was, what, in 2012 or 13, that was the year. So that time I hardly had not got this understanding of the Gita. So what happened is ultimately what good was happening also stopped. So here our job is to first get clarity for ourselves before going and trying to tell or teach or preach to anybody else. First, at least this aspect must be clear. That Chaturvarna, yes, they are there, but it does not mean anybody is superior to the other. And it will become very clear in the last adhyay. Krishna goes on, he says, I detachedly perform all actions. He says, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha, iti mam yo vijanati, karma bhirna sabadhyate. I cannot be chained or bound by actions, nor by any fruitive aspirations. He who knows this and understands in the entanglement of works, he never lands. Krishna says, I cannot be bound. I cannot be bound by any actions. You cannot trap me, not by fruitive aspirations. भगवान आज तुम्हारा परीक्षा है. This is a very common dialogue that people say. Good, today is God's test, not my test. All right, that is fine from the Shraddha point of view. But divine says, do whatever you want. You're not going. It's like a very seasoned parent, no? Children emotionally blackmail, no? Many times. And then parents yield. I used to sing one particular song for mother. Kya main itna bura hu main? And immediately she said, don't say like that. And then that was emotional. Then afterwards she learned that these people are useless generation. Don't take them too seriously. Something like that. Krishna says, I cannot be bound by karma bandhanas. I am permanently mukta. I am free. I am Krishna, he says. He who knows this and understands, in the entanglement of works he never lands. Meaning, somebody who understands this joy of becoming free from karma bandhanas, somebody who understands how Krishna is acting, working sincerely in the midst of all activities and still detached, what will happen? Yat yat acharati shrestha, isn't it? What the best do, you learn to follow, no? You see somebody who is best, you try to follow that, something like that. Somebody who recognizes Krishna's brilliance will automatically start following Krishna's principles. And so that person also will not consciously fall into trouble. Somebody who understands will not say, no, Abel, mujhe mar, come, let me get into one more bandhana, let me suffer more. No, he'll say, I don't want to get into this trap. Let me walk out carefully. I'll avoid all of this. I don't want more pitfalls. I'm walking on an already difficult path. I have to focus on my journey. I don't want to get trapped. That realization comes. Krishna goes on, he says, Evam gnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. The ancient wise ones who were liberated, imbibing this knowledge, they operated. Therefore, you too, all your works perform, adopting the ancients' practice as your norm. Krishna is saying this. He says, see the ancient ones, the mumukshus. You see, this is a title. Muni, mumukshu, yati, rishi. These are all titles like we have, isn't it? Somebody who has done MBBS, then MD, then they have done DNB, they have done other specializations. Super specializations have come. Or if you were looking at the other field, MA is done after BA, then there is MPhil, people do that. Some people go on to PhD. These are all specializations. So on the Adhyatmic Marga also, there are levels of consciousness which have been reached. Specialization. Muni is something. Sitadir Muni Ruchate is what we understood. Somebody who is free from fear, who is free from anger. Best example of Muni is Narada Muni. He'll go in front of the Asura also. He will go in front of the Deva also. With the same Stita Prajna stance. Whether or not this Asura is plotting the downfall of the entire Srishti, it's okay. For this Muni, he is connected in what? The Japa and Laya of Narayana. Always in that state of consciousness. So like that, that is Muni. Mumukshus. Mumukshus were the liberated beings. What are they? What were they doing? Krishna is saying they followed this principle of not getting trapped into entanglements unnecessarily. Many times this happens, we don't realize it, we get trapped, and then we suffer the consequences. Unnecessarily, we get into traps. We get a feeling, isn't it? Sometimes, even among our own friends and peers, sometimes you see some people, you see, these are shady characters. Something doesn't look right. But then you feel, no, 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 out of goodness or virtue, I have to go. It becomes a problem. And in college, I remember I had gone with my friends and I said, yes, yes, I'm a friend of everybody. So let's go. And so I went. Suddenly, I saw all of them they're taking out drugs and they're going to smoke. And I just thought, I just remembered my father's face. Somebody comes, takes a photo of me in the same room, and my father sees it. All game over for me. I thought, let's quickly run away. I came out of that room immediately because this is not something I want to get trapped. Whether or not I had it, I didn't have it, that association was not required at all. It is as simple as that. So the mumukshus understand and they feel they understand the practicality of these things. So they keep themselves out of it. No, thank you. It's all right. Walking away from all of those traps. This is therefore all of your actions you perform adopting the ancients' practice. What is the ancients' practice? Detachment. Detachment from works, expectation, not detachment from action. This is a very thin line. Detachment from expectation and detachment from action. And that's what Krishna is saying here. He says, Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajnatva moksha se shubhat. What is action and what is inaction? Even the wisest seers are thus perplexed. I shall hand you that riddle's explanation, that knowledge by which all bondages are shed. He says, I'll give you that knowledge which will shed all those bondages, this karma bandhanas. Because people sometimes forget what is action, what is inaction. Should I act now or should I not act right now? Is it required or is it not required? We sometimes get trapped. Krishna says, I will tell you. And he says, it's all right. Even the greatest kavis also, kavis and so supposedly seers also sometimes get confused. So it's okay. Dronacharya got confused, isn't it? What was right action and what was wrong action? Yes or not? The great Guru of the Pandavas, Guru of the Kauravas, even he got confused, not knowing what is right action, what is wrong action. Because this happens. This is why Sansara is a big challenge. If it was not a challenge, it would be boring also, isn't it? So let us embrace the challenge, but let us do it consciously. That will allow us. And Krishna says, when you understand it, you will become free. Yat jnatva moksha se shubhat. You will experience that freedom. That is moksha. Sri Aurobindo's Upanishad also talks about Eshaha moksha. This is moksha, is freedom. And that time he says very nicely, Anandam he pravakshami. We'll come to that a little later on. Let us continue. Karmano yapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Another wonderful word, phrase of the Gita which is often used. Gahana karmano gatihi. Deep is the nature and flux of karma that one cannot understand. It is dense like a forest, like a dense forest. What happens if you just visualize yourself into a dense forest, forgetting the wild animals? The path only is confusing, isn't it? So many trees, which way to go? There's no road. That is the flux of karma. You don't know what you are doing. Sometimes being silent and party to some wrong karma is also equally bad karma, isn't it? It is said so many. That is why Shastras are describing what is to be done, what is not to be done, because sometimes our Viveka Buddhi does not work. Then we become part of that. There are consequences for every action. That is also something which we cannot escape, isn't it? Let us continue. Krishna says here, understand one must what is right action and what is the action that is considered wrong. Also, one must know what is considered to be inaction and the deep nature to which the way of works belong. So if you look at it, karma is action. We can just see in simple words, karma is any action which we are doing. Karma is, in Sanskrit, it's very easy. Mrutam, amrutam. Opposite of mrutam is amrutam. So opposite of karma is akarma. Inaction, non-action. That is akarma. There is one more vikarma. Vikarma means wrong actions. Kruti becomes, when you add vi, what happens? It becomes vikruti, isn't it? Action that is done is generally the action that is done, whatever you have done. But when you add V to it, it becomes Vikruti. Vikruti is distortion. It's a disturbance, wrong action. That is Vikarma. So we have to understand the flux of karma. That is how deep it is, like a forest. My sister was asked a question in the inspector of factories department by the inspector. You're into spirituality. Tell me what is the theory of karma. A very wrong place to be asked it was very funny also to suddenly out of the blue being asked this question. But she's already very alert. So she said, do you want it in long or do you want it in short? He said, I want it in short. I said, okay. You go right now outside. She spoke this to the inspector directly. She has that habit of speaking the truth very firmly. So you go onto the road, you slap somebody, that person will slap you back. Instant karma. Karma, when you do some karma, you get immediate reaction to that karma. Those are one type of karma. He shook his head. Okay, is she teasing me or is she telling the truth? Let it be. He listened to this. Then He says, and there are some karmas you do, and then the results come much later on also. Like in exams, you write exams, children write exams. Results, they come afterwards, isn't it? They come afterward after some time. So till that time, they're very happy. My own sister's case, she would say full marks. No matter how the exam went, till the results come, it is full marks only. So this is one type of karma where actions are done, but results don't come right now. They come a little later. Some of the karmas you do action, you get result immediately. That's the best way actually. No balance, no negative balance remaining. It gets exhausted also. That is best. But then there is another third type of karma, and she told that indirectly pointing out to the officer only. We have done so many things, we don't know what we have done. And those consequences of what we have done, those results come to us suddenly anytime. That is also a third type of karma. That is also true. Sometimes this janma, sometimes we are carrying over a baggage from a previous janma. We don't even know that. That also sometimes influences certain things. So it's a very deep and dense network. It's like a flux which is confusing even the wisest of wise. But you must become conscious, is what Krishna is saying. Next comes the interesting part. He says, Karmanya karmaha yaha pashyeda karmani cha karma yaha sa buddhiman manusheshu sa yuktaha krishna karmakrat. He who while performing action sees inaction. And even in inactivity, he who perceives a latent action, know him to be the man of the illumined mind, and his actions transcendently benefit all of mankind. Meaning, somebody who has got a higher consciousness, that person is able to see behind what? Behind the wheel of things, what they call the unseen providences of things. On the outside, certain things happen, but on the inside, a very different story is there. Somebody who has got that higher understanding, they are able to see. So they'll be able to see karma in akarma and akarma in karma also. What can this mean? Best example, intern joining a organization. First day, intern enters into the organization. The team leader, manager says, yes, go do this work. Morning to evening, the intern is continuously working. Once in a while, the intern keeps looking at manager. I see this person is resting, relaxing. I am doing all the hard work. This person is doing nothing. So according to the intern, it is just a karma on the part of the manager and real karma done by the intern. But actually the manager has got some experience, isn't it? So what does the manager do? The manager comes and says, last 10 hours what you have worked. He takes a pen and he says, this is wrong. You think you have done so much, all of it is of no use. Immediately this person gets frustrated. How did you call this work which I have done so much as nothing? Well, from the higher perspective, it is not anything. You are learning and growing, but you have made some basic mistakes which you have not understood. So it's looking like for you, it is looking karma, but it's actually a karma. And what this person is doing after some serving in that organization for say 8-9 months, the intern understands ki yes, right now when the person the intern gets integrated into the system, what that manager is doing on the table for this many hours or maybe 2-3 hours is ensuring we get job and get work for doing the entire project. So it looks like the work is not being done, but actually some work is being done. This is an ideal case. Because a lot of my friends, they are team leaders, they keep telling me we don't do anything. My job is not to do anything. Then it becomes a karmic consequence later on. But many times in life we don't understand. We feel we're doing a lot of things, but actually it's nothing productive coming out. Means how to say, like in our village also, something very similar. They say no, sir, गाय को इतना चारा दे दिया पर दूध ही निकल नहीं रहा है. What's happening, not understanding what is happening is as simple as that, because it's not that I have not done the work. So they have to do an analysis. The veterinary doctor has to see what is the problem, why this is conversion is not happening, what is the factor which is preventing it. Then you can work on it. That is what we must understand. Krishna is saying that somebody who is doing a lot of action also, if you have the higher knowledge, you will see this action is whether it's leading you to something or not. And sometimes not doing an action at certain times also is important. That understanding comes to a person who has raised the consciousness. One particular, in our college, the project student had written for a proposal to get a sanction and funding from the center, but the funding had not come at all. And this person kept working for it and then finally got irritated so much that she went to the guide and said, "Sir, enough of this. I don't want to anymore be part of this. So long, worked so hard, leave it." The guide says, "Wait, just wait for 1 more week and then take your decision." What's going to happen in 1 week, which did not happen in 5 entire months? That is what the student feels. But okay, respect for the guidance. All right. And within 1 week, there's a letter and email that the fund has got sanctioned. The student is full of, oh, okay, what? You have Duradrashti, you have Divyadrashti. How did you know? How did this happen? Well, that is experience. Maybe this person did contact somewhere, did find out some things, but understood that on the surface, it looks like nothing has come out. But this file has moved into so many stages, so many places like that. Yogis work on occult planes also. There are barriers which are broken, which we may not be able to see. But the guru is able to see, the yogi is able to understand, and they work on that level. That is what we call the higher state of consciousness, which can see the real meaning of karma and akarma as well. Krishna goes on, Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddhaha. Krishna says, he who seeks not, he who seeks not any gratification, he whose every activity is without desire, he whose very works are consumed by knowledge's fire, he is declared to be the wisest sage in action. This yogi, this rishi, this muni is not doing inaction. Is continuously working. Working for what? For loka sangraha. That is why even if the rishis of the ancient times did tapasya in the forests and the mountains, they would come, isn't it? Come to interact with the public. The Nath Sampradaya, they would do great tapasya and in Alak Niranjan Adesh, and they would go into the villages, get bhiksha. And at that time, there would be the great discussion, there would be sharing, there would be higher wisdom, insights would be given. Because everybody is connected with the samashti, or we are connected with the society, isn't it? We are connected with the society, even if we may not like the people living in our society, they are a part of us, we are a part of that, they are also part of it. And we have a strong connection, whether or not we like it or not. Something like that. The yogi also understands. So the yogi has responsibilities, though himself or herself not in the sansara bandhana, but responsibilities and duties are there, and that yogi understands it. And when the yogi does it without any gratification. What will you get in return for doing it? No, nothing is required, nothing is to be given, because the karma is an offering without expecting anything in return. Because every activity is then driven without desire. The works automatically are consumed by knowledge's fire, meaning that is a tapasya. Tapasya is what? Lighting a fire. Tapaha. Tapa is what? Of course, the heat, the flame of that Agni. Which Agni? Dhyana Agni. The knowledge, the fire of knowledge is going to give insight. That insight drives the yogi, and that person is said to be the wisest sage who is in action. What has he done? He has become free. Free from what? Kama sankalpa varjita. Means it's all this sankalpa. Sankalpa is also is transcend, like everything is divine. Divine is working. I am only the medium. Na ham karta, hari karta. I am not the doer. The divine is performing. That is the exact state of mind all the time. Krishna says, Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya trupto nirashrayah karmanya bhi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. When he has given up attachment, desireless and unperturbed, he is the blissful one. In the midst of activity, he is in the state of detachment. He is not the doer of works, but his work is done. This is actually a riddle. He is not the doer of works, but his work is done. He is doing activities, and yet he is detached. He is desireless, he is not disturbed, and he is free. How do we understand it? Best would be looking at the phenomena of a storm, isn't it? If you see eye of the storm, what is the velocity in the eye of the storm? Anybody? A cyclone, a hurricane, however it is. What is the velocity in the eye? Yes?
It is zero. There is no movement.
Ji, yes, Umaji. So it is zero in the sense, it is only in the center zero, isn't it? Otherwise, the storm is moving at a high speed. What happens
Yes.
if that zero changes in the center? Will it collapse? According to physics, I think it just suddenly all those forces get what we can say nashta. Because for that velocity on the outside, it has to be zero, as Umaji said. The eye of the storm is zero for a very, very big and powerful storm where maybe several 100 kilometers, 200, 500 kilometers per hour speed wind may be blowing. Yet the eye has to be as near as zero because that only sustains. So when a storm can be peaceful on the inside, what about all of us? I think we can also try, isn't it? We can try on in the heart. We should not get palpitations in our heart when something wrong happens. Most of the time that only happens, isn't it? We have the heart of a rabbit sometimes. That rabbit's heart should change into a lion's heart, isn't it? Or a lioness's heart. Because that is required. We have to learn to get detached because things will not happen according to our wish. This is Srushti. This is not a artificial intelligence simulated environment that we have created and we are going to create bots in that environment. No, it's not like that. We are only probably trying to not become a bot and not be conditioned by outer programming influences of Prakriti. So we have to be ready. And Krishna says here, somebody who is free of what? Free of all the other expectations. What people will call me, what people will tell me, what is going to happen, what will be my status today, or what will it be 10 days later, 10 years later, 20 years later. It's all right. I'm focusing on the karma. On the inside, I'm quiet. Whether it's a favorite work or it's a non-favorite work, I have transcended my choice. So in the middle of the duties also, you are free. Krishna says such a person does work, means he's not the doer of the works, but the work are done. Meaning somebody else is doing the work. There's a nice Hindi phrase, Ram hamara kaam kare, hum baithe aaram. What does that mean? I'm going to sit quietly, God is going to do my work. Well, it's something like that. A bhakta experiences it because the bhakta has become free. Bhakti means what? Breaking vibhakti is only bhakti, isn't it? Vibhakti is separation. So you have become one with the divine. So you experience the flow. The experience is there. And that is why bhajans are there where Prabhu ko niyam badalte dekha. I have seen the rules bent for me. I have seen changes happening in material rules also. And this is the experience. Or you look at many great people, they do a lot of work and then they ask, no, I didn't do anything. Have you heard of this dialogue? Some very big work has been done. Maybe family member, maybe somebody else, some teacher, someone you look up to, and they've done such a big work, and then you go and say, "वाह, क्या बात किया? What a wonderful work you have done." नहीं, ऐसा ही नहीं, थोड़ा हो गया, वो उन्होंने किया, इन्होंने किया. They just pass it on. Why? They understand that no, I'm not going to take that adhikar. Who's the owner of it? Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. Owner is the divine. Everything belongs to the divine. I'm not going to hold on to it. That is something which is very clear. There's a beautiful kavali where it says, सोचा क्या तूने कभी तूने ये आए तुम कहाँ से हो जाओगे कहाँ ये सोचा नहीं रे नहीं एंड देन तूने क्या बनाई तूने क्या सजाई सब किया है तो उसने तूने बातें बनाई. So everything the divine has done. You only said I did this. I worked. It's so much that I improved the net production in my enterprise from 5.56 metric tons to 5.57 metric tons or something. And we take a lot of pride in whatever actions we have done. But we forget that we had the opportunity to do it because of so many other factors. Where we must have that gratitude And that comes to a person who is detached, who's calm on the center, in face of difficult moments. It is extremely important to have that. Krishna goes on, निराशीर यदचित्तात्मा त्यक्त सर्व परिग्रहः शरीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. He desires not for his heart or mind. Why? All has been sacrificed to the divine. My heart's ichha also God knows. What my mind wants also the divine knows. So I don't have to specifically, please God, make this happen. Please, please. They stop begging. They forget it. It's like, all right, do what you wish. I have surrendered. I will focus on my action. Whatever I'm capable of, the rest is your headache, not mine. They said God has so many heads, so let them have the headache, no? Shastra Shirsha Purusha Purusha Sukta says. So why do you have to hold on to everything onto your head only? It's not required. Have some faith, have some confidence in the capacity of God. You focus on your capacities. But that is something he desires not for his heart or mind. All desires renounced, his senses in his grip you find. In this poise, all bodily actions he does verily perform, but his actions can cause no sin to take form. This is the ideal person, the Jivan Mukta, performing actions, not creating new sanskaras. That is the freedom. Otherwise, you do one thing, creates one more chain of actions and reactions. You go say something here, this person says this, hey, that person talked about you like this, and you don't even know what big chain reaction has started. Why? Unconsciously uttered something somewhere. Instead, if you are clever, you'll not do that. You'll speak correctly, words which are important, words which are required, not creating new sanskaras. And that is what this yogi is doing. Personal desires have all been left aside. Like late Sushma Swaraj had said beautifully. She would say, whenever something happens according to my wish, I would accept it happily as Krishna Prasad. Means it has come from the divine, I accept it as a prasad. And when something happens against my wish, I accept it happily as Krishna Ichha. This divine wish may be something else. Right now, I'm not happy with it, but it's okay. Sometimes we need strict parents also, no? Then only we will learn. Otherwise, we will not. Every time we cannot be pampered. What is right has to be told what is right, and what is wrong, it should be told to us, isn't it? Or should they think that no, 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 if I say this, my child will feel bad. Let me not ever say what is wrong. No, that is wrong. That is again wrong parenting. You can spoil. It's like you'll spoil the child by what Dhritarashtra did, no, to poor Duryodhana, and ultimately poor Dhritarashtra also. What has happened to his family? What has happened to his life? When he said Krishna was responsible for breaking him, Gandhari cursed, no, Krishna, you destroyed, you created, you destroyed my family, you are going to now suffer. Krishna said, yes, give me that, I will accept that curse. But don't say I didn't feel the pain. I felt the pain on both sides. They were my people only. Both sides were my own people. I had to follow what was the right path. So there's something like that the yogi understands. So what happens then? If forget the yogi, we come to our life. What will happen? Anybody, if we get into this poise of mind or with a state of mind, what will happen to our everyday interactions? That's my question. Anybody? If we are able to bring that balance. Yes. Anybody? If we are able to bring this balance in our life, what transformation will we see? Anybody?
We won't have much quarrels in the life in our life. Like we can sort it with poise, and we can sort it out very well
Means
with
if somebody tells
communication.
bad about you, somebody whom you care a lot also talks ill about you, it will not hurt you, isn't it, Ji?
We won't feel the suffering.
Yeah, maybe you'll feel
We'll be
little pained.
we'll be fine. Yeah, I'm
Pained
saying.
little bit, but suffering may not be there, isn't it? And just one more thing, Dr. Vidisha Ji. And if suddenly somebody unexpectedly tells you good,
Still, we won't be
yeah, and you'll actually enjoy that moment.
maintaining.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Wow. Today,
Congratulations.
Shakuni has transformed into somebody else. I appreciate it. But it's all right. It's okay. I'll take that also with a pinch of salt. So that is something it can bring about transformation. We look at one more shloka and we'll stop. The 22nd shloka. Krishna says, Yadricha labha santushto dvandvatito vimatsaraha samaha siddhau vasiddhau cha kritvapi na nibadhyate. Exactly what Dr. Vidishaji said. Krishna is saying that whatever good comes naturally his way, he is contented, thus never envious on any day. Envious in the sense having jealousy over somebody else's possessions. अरे उसके प्लेट में तो ज्यादा मिला, मेरे प्लेट में कम मिला. इन्होंने तो जानबूझ के किया. People have purposely done this. These hosts are very partial. All these thoughts come in. People go to marriage also and have these kind of thoughts only. Instead of what should they go? They should go for wishing the young couple to have a very happy life. Instead, all the other drama takes place. Everything except getting the blessings from the guests or asking, for the same. Because everywhere else they're trying to do what we can say sansaric troubles. That is where the entire problem is. But here the yogi is not like that. With whatever good that comes naturally his way, he's contented, thus never envious on any day. Both success and failure, he greets with poise. Works don't bind him, for he has transcended choice. This person has no favorable work or unfavorable work. Duty is duty. Whether it is big or small, they cannot classify big duty into small duty, isn't it? A stitch in time saves 9, isn't it? It's as simple as that. When somebody says small stitch, or there's a very famous, there was a phrase, I think in school we had learned, if I can recollect it well. For want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, a horse was lost. And for want of a horse, ultimately battle is lost. So it all started with a nail that was lost. Somebody said, this is such a small thing. It's all right. But that horseshoe came out and then it created, it's like a ripple effect. So every action is looked at as karma. Karma is duty. Duty has to be done fully, isn't it? Whether or not what you're not going to calculate what am I going to get in return from this duty. If you are walking on the karma yogi path. If you're a bhogi, you will say, I will try to calculate. And then you will say, what happened? Why did this calculation not tally? Why am I not getting it? Because that is the samsara. Unknown variables are too many. We cannot try to calculate all of it. We can only guess, but not calculate with certainty. So better be like the yogi. Whatever good comes naturally. On a hot summer day, when a cool breeze comes to you, how do you feel? Ah, what a nice breeze it has come. We say, oh, thank you, it has come directly from God, or you feel so relieved, isn't it? So like that, when you expect nothing, even the little joys that you get, they start, you will be more conscious, you will experience them with a great joy. It becomes ananda. Because right now you are not trapped in any expectation. Otherwise, in a rush, you're not able to experience Ananda only because of that rush. Here you are quiet. And when difficult moment comes, you suddenly brace. You say, ha, Hari Om, all right, Astu, let me take, no, all right, I'll take it in the stride. You're able to keep that balance. The dvandva of success and failure is not making you, you're not getting excited. Now I'll get that package which I want. I will get increment and package, then I'll do this, then I'll do that, I'll invest in these many shares, and then, hey Bhagwan, I didn't read that terms and conditions properly. Market risks, fluctuations, I didn't think of it. But this full samsaric, so many months have gone into that. Something of that sort is there. The yogi has crossed this. Success and failure. He is greeting both with poise. See, I tried my best, still experience failure. What can you do? Nothing, no. It is something which you should understand. It's a part of life. And sometimes you feel it is very big. You cannot tolerate it. But I think best of most successful people feel that failure is sometimes a necessary condition. One senior had come into our college, our class when we were in engineering. He had told in the first year, "Ki, if you don't fail any time, you will not, it is not worth getting your degree." We found it very strange. And he said, don't worry about all of these teachers. They will tell you about your internal marks, attendance. I have 5 marks. You tell them keep that 5 marks with you. I don't need all of it. He was giving a pep talk. We were wondering, what is he doing? Is he inspiring us or is he taking us in the wrong line? But whatever it was, I didn't appreciate it. But then something happened, a funny incident happened where I had to get involved with one friend of mine, and it happened right on the previous day of the exam. And then I did very bad and I failed the one exam in my life, thermodynamics. I still remember it. So that was the very shocking experience. But that time it looked like everything is gone. It's hopeless. But now I can see it was nothing. It was actually hardly anything. And probably that was required for me to suddenly shake and wake up. A classmate of mine, 8th class, he failed in maths. His father, he's from a family where everybody do business only. Father is a pawnbroker. Maths में गया तो it looked like his life is over. In second standard, he was crying. Lunch he could not eat. He was shaking uncontrollably, and I was just trying to see if we can get him some 3-4 marks by grace, if he can pass. But no, like Tare Zameen Par, 6 numbers become 7, 7 became 9 in the calculation. No logic, and if he failed, it didn't look like he will do anything in life connected to maths at that time, afterwards. But now he is one of the topmost auditors in Pondicherry. He's well respected, the best sought after one, and at a very young age, he became one of the first in the group to get clear that exam, which is considered to be most difficult, which requires a great mental prowess. I did all of it. The same person who was not capable. So the thing is, failure should not break us, should not shake us. We should try to be like a yogi. If we are balanced, we'll enjoy life more, and we'll get more such moments where we'll feel gratitude for the divine. Because when you are grateful, even less appears more. It is said something, it is so simple that Sarpaha pibanti pavanam nacha durbalaste Shushkai trunaihi vanagajaha balino bhavanti Kandaihi phalaihi munivaraha japayanti kalam Santosha eva purushasya param nidhanam. Meaning, you see, the snake, what does the snake eat? Nothing. It's like hot air. It's consuming hot air and still moving and slithering with such speed. Look at the elephant, the big mighty elephant. What does it eat? It just eats leaves and vegetation, and still it is so powerful. Look at the yogi. What is the yogi eating? Kanda and phala, isn't it? Just in the forest, what else do they get? And yet yogi is strong, physically also strong. There is something called santosha, santosha eva purushasya param nidhanam, meaning if you are having that santosha, you are having that trupti, you are going to experience the ananda. Otherwise, you will go into the biggest of best buffets and still feel it's useless. I didn't enjoy any time, and yet there's a small home where there is not much of an option, but everybody is sitting together and there are only 2 dishes, but all are enjoying consciously because they are connected. So this aspect of expectation, one more reason we find today is letting go of expectation will allow us to experience the little joys of life in a more significant and pronounced manner. Of course, karma bandhana, we become free from that is a second add-on which we get in return. So I think with this, we are ready to conclude today's session. Can someone share some inputs or some points that you want to add? And we'll then conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, if you can, some of the takeaway points which we can drive from today, so that one way it will help all of us. Actually, we will also be able to meditate on that for the rest of the night and the next day also. Yes, please. Anybody?
So we saw as per the basis of qualities and activities, the fourfold law is sanctioned, the class is determined, and there is a joy in becoming free from karma bandhana, so we should follow that. And there are different, we also saw that as per the level of consciousness, there are different levels of consciousness. And we saw there are 3 levels of action. One is karma, that is action, akarma, that is non-action, and vikarma, which is wrong action. So we should understand that. and somebody who has higher consciousness drives his own wheel. So he is not impacted with the very difficult situations or not elated with very happy situations. He's stable. And we know that things always will not happen as per our wish. So that is also there. So we should not have any desires in our mind when we are doing the action. It should be devoid of any desires or devoid of any outcome of the action.
But one
And
question, Dr. Vidishaji, when we are
yes,
saying we don't have desires, can we have aspiration while doing the work?
yes, yes, we
Aspiration is
can have
required.
goal
We should
goal
have.
setting. Goal
Aspiration is
setting we should
required.
have.
Yes, yes.
Goal setting we
Aspiration
should have.
and the best
Yes.
aspiration should be the highest aspiration, isn't it? Betterment of the world, which
So
is
we
the
should not
philosophy.
set low aim.
Low aim.
Highest aim
Yeah,
should be set.
yeah.
But we should not be focused on the outcome. We should just follow the path and do our karma duty. We should do properly without having fear or without having anxiety of the outcome of the action. And there is nothing like favorable work or unfavorable work. It is both in success and failure. We should greet with poise and with content. Trupti,
Yes,
we
yes.
should have Trupti and we should have Ananda in Trupti. There is happiness in
Yes.
content. Hari.
Yes. All right. Hari Om ji. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Vidisha. Yes, Lalita ji has said failure is learning. And yes, it is true. Many times it is said somebody who is not failed at all has not been tested a lot. Or that person is trying to be safe. Somebody who has never fallen because they've never taken a big leap or never tried taking a big leap, walking safe all the time. It's all right. Failure is okay. Failure is nothing to just, write off the story. It is actually a beginning and it's a learning. In research, so we don't consider it failure at all. We start with a hypothesis, we get an opposite result, and we publish the paper. This medicine does not work. That is all, isn't it? So much efforts are done, so much investigation is done, so many hopes are there that this will work. But hence, we understood. And this becomes what we call it learning. Learning for entire scientific community. It will go into that collective knowledge. Yes, this does not work in this situation. So we have to find. That is something we must understand. There's no such thing as absolute failure. All right, let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kasyat dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum. Jai Shri Krishna. Punar Milama. Yes, please. Any questions are there? You are welcome. Or we'll see tomorrow. Yes, anybody? Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir. Sir, I just
Hari.
wanted to add if anyone is into gardening, so when
Ha.
we plant a seed, it
I am
and
into
when
gardening.
the first
Yes.
flower comes, there is lot of patience in that. You don't know the outcome that what is going to come, whether the plant will sustain or not. And one fine day you see a blooming flower that comes out. When you don't notice, you just carry on daily with water, with whatever fertilizers, maybe taking care of the plant. And one fine day you see that flower. If anyone
Yeah.
is into gardening, must have
Yes.
experienced it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the happiness that you feel in that moment is like above anything. And
Yes. Yes.
like दिन बन
And
गया that feeling it
yeah.
is.
Yes. Yes.
हाँ,
Yeah.
yes.
And yes. Yeah. And one more thing is if you see elderly, sometimes they plant some trees also, isn't it? They're not going to be eating the fruits. They know it. They're not even going to be watching the fruit. And yet they plant the trees. Why? Because they understand this has to go. This has to go to the next generation. Let's plant. There's a nice song which says, let's plant new seeds and watch them grow. So there will be flowers in the window when we go. It's all right, even if we have to leave. It is not my plot. It's all right. I don't need to be owner of a plot to garden. It's all right. I'll get a simple pot. I can grow. I can let it be, let it be. But that joy, as Vidisha ji said, is a nishkam karma. What is being done? A farmer does the work. And next to our unit, we are very connected with the farmers. So there, I used to see very closely this person once there was a failure of crop. I felt bad. I did not do the farming there, but I felt bad watching this because untimely rain spoiled the sesame seed. The full plot, all the seeds have suddenly fallen down. I was watching, and we were actually planning to procure the seeds from him, and all of these thoughts were there, and I was feeling so happy. And suddenly, when I went to him, I thought he would be devastated at that failure or loss. He just told in Tamil, ki, "This is nature." He said, "This is Yerkai." They said, "This is nature. It's not in our hand." How poised. Oh, so many hours in the sun he has toiled, and yet he is keeping that balance. This is life. We cannot control, is what he said. Now that is spirituality only, isn't it? He may not have studied the Bhagavad Gita, but he is living that principle, isn't it? Yes, that is a beautiful example shared by Dr. Vidisha ji. And yes, if anybody is not engaging in gardening or some kind, just try. Get one pot. Get one pot, plant one tree, plant one sapling somewhere and just watch. It doesn't take too much time. 2 weeks, 3 weeks also you will see the slow growth, and then you can talk to the plants, become conscious, because that is also a jiva, isn't it? There is a pranvayu inside of them. They will tell you water has not been given at this time. The leaves will say, tell you, "Ki, Arey, you forgot to give me water." Then you have to quickly go and you'll see them again become fresh, receiving that little water. So I think one important point has been shared. Let us all try if we have not. And if you are trying, well, wonderful. You can share if you want to also some of your experiences. Yes, Chip. Hariom.
I wish to share one experience. Like when I was small, I used to throw the marigold flowers and all. So new
Hmm.
plant automatically it used to come. But nowadays I am having balcony garden. Whenever put some seed, no, I'm not able to see any plant
Okay.
because no, the quality of the soil is not good. We are getting it from
Yes.
the nursery, so the
Yeah.
soil is not good. Even if we get plant from the nursery, that is not growing for that.
Okay.
Yeah, even my neighbors know they are experiencing this.
Yes, yes. So
But
actually,
in
one
my
more thing
childhood, I
in the
had a lot of.
no, no, that is true, ji. And Lalita ji, one more thing, there's a scam also going on in most nurseries. They give
Oh,
plants which don't grow very well. We go, we buy, and after they want you to come again and get another set of plants. So they flower once or twice only. Instead, you can try to find a good source of good quality seeds or good quality saplings, and then soils also are available, different vermicompost, other types. You can just purchase them in small sachets also are available, and probably try experimenting.
yeah, definitely I will do.
Ji, ji. Yes, ji. Hari Om. Namaskaram.
I have a question. Oh,
All right.
sorry.
Yes, Joy ji. Please go on. Yes, ji.
Please continue. No, I've lost it.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Yes. Was it Karthik ji? You were saying something?
No, not me.
No. All right. I think Joy ji, everybody is waiting for your question only. Yeah.
Sorry. So actually, you said that like we have seen कि जो भी बड़े-बड़े लोग होते हैं, even if they have done like a really great task, they still say ये तो बस हो गया, it was done.
Yeah.
And for example, big singers say that this tune came to me. Fair
Hmm.
enough. But if we if we go to an interview and if we do the same thing, that no, it just happened, even if it was a big achievement. And
No, in
actually, in
interview,
interviews when we are hiring,
I'll tell you, Joiji, just in interview question only, I'm telling you, the seasoned interviewer can identify when a person is boasting and when a person is speaking the truth. Best example I can say is Professor Arun Tiwari ji. He was asked in an interview by Kalam sir. His first interview was by, that was something which was in DRDO. He came and asked him this question. He said, "What do you think about this particular alloy? Some particular, what do you think about this particular topic?" He just asked that question. It was not like a formal interview for taking him on board. It was in the office in front of one more staff because he saw him study something about metallurgy, and he thought, I will ask him this question. So generally, what do we do in interviews? Like you said, no, we try to show we have done this, we have done that. So professor, that time he was not professor, he was a young engineer. He started saying, I think this is the future and this, that. That time Kalam sir immediately looked at the other professor and said, "We here have been struggling with this concept for so many days, and we have come up with this hypothesis of doing something. And I'm asking this person what he thinks about it. Instead of saying thank you for considering me, he is trying to tell me what is correct and what is wrong in this idea. How can we work with such a person? And immediately, Professor, he very nicely has shared his experience. He said, sir, I'm sorry, I'm from UP village. I had little communication problem, or something I wanted to say, something like that. He said, and he, made it quiet. He said, like made himself shanta, and he said, I don't know, please, if you give me the opportunity. With humility, he got it. So maybe in interview you can talk about karma, but you don't have to boast, no? I did this, I did that. That becomes the requirement.
No.
But
I don't have to boast, but I was just asking that even if don't mention the facts, because at least in engineering sector, even you know that things run on the fact. Like, okay, I did that. This is not sufficient. You have to also say that because of this much improvement or this has
no,
happened.
I think Joyji
Then
best is becoming conscious at that particular moment because the people who didn't have facts got placed from my college first. They were actually,
oh,
one of them is now a
nice.
Supreme Court advocate. He got placed in MRF company. Okay, he is now a Supreme Court advocate after engineering. But why these three people, all three were not connected with engineering sector at all? Because they were all only in the mechanical engineering, they used to come for gaming only. They used to not have any
Oh,
interest in engineering. Yet they got first place, and all three never attended any of the after placement. They never went. That company resolved never to come to my college. Legacy of my batch for the future batches. That company didn't come again to the college at all. So here, what has happened? Why did all the other experts who were technically sound did not get selected? Because probably they didn't have the presence of mind. This group had the presence of mind. They could do it. So there's no, there's no, even interviews. You see, I was asked in a mock interview, your grades are too much. It was on stage. It was actually a very interesting experience in my engineering college. They wanted all of us to get an experience. They called some senior alumni who were already well placed. They would have mock interviews and I said, what is your favorite area? I said engineering graphics and I talked about Pro E. He said, Acha, you have done this? Okay, here, take pen, paper, draw me the auditorium. Draw me the orthographic projection of this auditorium. So now,
okay. And
Abel mujhe maar, no, I went and told about Pro E and all, what I have done. But then I could stand by it. At least, luckily, I drew something because I knew this person also doesn't know how many beams and pillars are there in the auditorium. I started drawing very sincerely. I knew he didn't have the time. He said, okay, keep it aside. Then he said, I'm not happy with your grades. Your GPA is too high. Now, what will you say? We cannot. No,
nothing
that is,
can be said
yeah.
on.
I said, sir, grades don't define a person. I don't think grades should be given too much of importance. You may consider me on my merits, and that is all. Whatever I've done or not, you can see. It is up to you. Like that, that answer was given that time. And I was the one who
Understood.
never attended any. I won the debate, but I never attended any placement interview in my college. So there's no hard and fast rule in the interviews also because everybody tries. No, everybody tries to impress the person in front. Maybe you just stop trying to impress the person. You might actually stand out in the interview. Most
Yeah,
different.
that's what even I was thinking. Like, why to
Yeah,
even
most.
impress them? If it's meant for me, it
Speak
will
the
be.
truth. No, no, and speak the truth.
Yeah.
Don't have to don't, they say don't punch below the belt or something like that. Don't, what is your weight? You keep that weight. It's all right. I've done this, I've done that, I'm
Mhm.
interested in. The more you have clarity of mind, there. Again, Mam Phaleshu Kadach, one person has followed Krishna's principles and got interview placement in 2, 3 places. First time of his life. He's never ever got placements before. He said, I was thinking of Krishna and offering to Krishna, I attended the interview. Krishna's principles helped in the interview. So it's not contradicting actually the principles here. Yes, agreed.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
that
All
makes
right.
sense.
Yes, yes. All right. Fine
Hariom.
then. I think Hariom. Can we conclude today's session then? Yes. Hariom, Shubharatri, Punarmilama. Looking forward tomorrow. Jai Shri
Hariom.
Krishna.